DDT Pod. It is May the 31st. We hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend, and we are glad to be back with you here on the podcast. And we have a few things to talk about. Make sure you go to 3countthursday.com. There you'll find all of the information, all the merchandise, YouTube, podcast links, and much more. Again, 3countthursday.com. No Mark today. Mark not with us. He's out doing intern things, so we hope that we will get him back and talk to him on Thursday's live show. But the first thing on the show today, guys, is we've seen a few instances here over the last few weeks of death matches, and sometimes when you have death matches, you have unfortunate circumstances that were not meant to happen. Some things, I don't know how you thought this wouldn't happen. We saw Joey Janela and the Flaming Superkick. We've seen a referee almost bleed out through a vein in his arm because of, I think it was glass in the ring. We've seen other instances in the past. And I guess the question here is, like, what's too far? I mean, I mean, going back in the Moxley CZW days, I mean, you think of like cheese graters and all different things, and I can never look at a pack of skewers the same because of deathmatch wrestling. And but really, like, is there too far? I mean, without the obvious answer that we don't ever want to have happen to anybody, like, do you guys have a mark that's too far for a death match?
I think, like, I'm not a deathmatch ghoul. I don't necessarily, like, I don't find deathmatch wrestling is like jazz. I don't really care for jazz. I respect it. Jazz musicians are musicians, just like deathmatch wrestlers are wrestlers. But I'm not paying to listen to jazz, and I'm not paying to watch deathmatch wrestling. That said, I think the line's already been crossed.
Okay.
Like, we got weed whackers and pizza cutters and, like, explosives and, like, remember the video of Joey Janela and Zandig jumping off a building through, like, a truck?
Ooh.
Come on, man. Like, Nick Gage almost died.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Sure did.
David Arquette almost died.
Sure did. Sure did.
You can't kill him, though.
Can't they
Sure can't.
should make a documentary. I think that might be something that would work.
And there's
no, but
Tim's probably right. The line's probably been crossed. And this is going to sound awful. Jim, you kind of alluded to it too. I mean, nobody's died that I know of in a death match from one of these lines being crossed, so it will be crossed again.
Yeah.
That's, Tim says like the weed whacker, he brings up a weed whacker, like, it's not pleasant. I've seen the results of that. I think it just happened recently at one of Traymont's shows at H2O.
Well, he had like second or third degree burns from that show, like hospitalized for a while. Yeah.
Right. He got burned pretty bad for that. They've run shows since.
Yeah.
The weed whacker, I think it's probably I've not seen it live. It's a stellar visual. You get the audio from the weed whacker, so it's another, like, sense that's being peaked. You visually see the marks instantly on the guy's side or stomach or whatever, that will eventually welt up. As long as there's people willing to do it, I don't know what's too far.
I don't think that there's been anyone that has raised their hand and said, like, that there's a limit. I mean, people that get into deathmatch wrestling know what they're getting into, and they have that level to it that they're willing to go. I mean, we've had plenty of them on the show that speak of it, and we've always asked what the limit in it is, and very few of them have had like a hard I know Tremont said he does nothing with the feet, which can't blame him. But there are plenty of deathmatch wrestlers that have no issues with, stepping on glass, stepping on tacks, stepping on Legos. I mean, I took my nephew to an H2O show, and it was a Christmas themed one, and one of the Christmas gifts had Legos in it, and that was probably the most painful thing that we saw at that one. But
I just think about the scene in Home Alone when he's coming through the window and he steps on the glass ornaments. Like that's a hard no for me.
I mean, people have put stuff in their mouths. I mean, we just saw the Kirks have a match where Casey Kirk ate a light tube, and I mean, we've seen teeth lost. I think the only thing that I don't think we'll ever see is anything really in the eyes, just for risk of losing vision. I think.
This isn't the WWE.
I mean, Rey Mysterio almost lost his eye.
He did. I think that's probably a limit. Like anything that will 100% cause irreparable damage would probably be the only thing. But I do foresee lost finger or toe in the future is probably the next line that we cross.
So Tim, you said that like you don't pay for jazz, you don't pay for deathmatch wrestling. Now, if you are going to a card, if you're going to a show, you're making plans to go to a show, is a deathmatch on the card like a no sell for you? Like, are you not going to go to that show because it's on? Does it depend who else is on the show?
It depends on who else on the show. Like I'm going to sound very counterintuitive here, but like I wanted to go to the Onita Tremont exploding ring match.
Okay.
Because of the spectacle of it. I would have loved to have been.
Why didn't you tell me that?
You would have went, Ryan?
100%.
I also
no, absolutely.
And like I would have loved to have gone to Broski versus Nick Gage. I would have loved to have seen that. But that is because that's more because of like who's doing it. Like Onita's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's
like Broski doing a death match.
Like you going to see Onita is like, I went to see Guns N' Roses. Like it's something to behold live,
for sure.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm kind of in that boat with you. Like I'm like a tournament of death, and I mean that company in and of itself, I'm not going to spend money to. But even in a time in a previous world where I would have gone to that company's shows, I'm not going to a tournament of death. I have no interest to stand in a hot field in July and watch X number of hours of deathmatch wrestling. That's not for Big Jim. But like if I'm making plans, especially if it's like if it's us, if we're going to a show or somebody I know is on a show, and there happens to be a deathmatch on the card, I'm not going to not go to it.
Or like a barbed wire ring.
A barbed wire cage. Yeah, I mean, wall. Kind of almost barbed wire adjacent. But yeah, I'm not gonna not go if there's one on the card, but I'll never go out of my way. And yeah, I think you guys all make really good points that the line that probably shouldn't have been crossed in terms of things that have been done has probably already been crossed, and we've gone back and forth over the line multiple times, and we'll continue to do it. And like we've thankfully, we don't know of anyone, and I feel like we would be aware if somebody did die from a death match. But like if that would ever to happen, do you think does that Does that end like that style of match, or does somebody eventually just go, fuck it, that this was just a thing that happened, and we're gonna get back out and do it again?
I don't even know if we see a pause on it, Jim. Honestly, I don't think it's anything longer than maybe like a month, if that. I don't think we would see a full out, and it probably should be. And if someone actually dies
probably
in a death match, then yes, 100%.
It's probably like, we've hit the stop button,
right? I mean, we can't justify this anymore. But I don't think it would. I think there's plenty of companies, maybe not fully like full on Tournament of Death style shows where that's 100% death matches. That probably goes away if someone actually dies, but we'll still see matches on cards at shows that are death matches.
I think if you look back at some of the real big players in the history, and I get deathmatch wrestling has evolved to include much more than when like Abdullah the Butcher was wrestling hardcore matches. Onita I think's always done that, but has had a great career and has maintained relatively well health throughout of it. Necro Butcher I think had that one real nasty injury, but that was from like glass or a light tube. Like I don't know how you get more crazy than fucking glass. Glass is really sharp and really fucks your body up. Like I don't know how it gets worse than that.
Especially light tubes when it just shards easily.
Yeah,
shards
and that dust that's like glass dust. It's not like powder, it's glass
I don't know
dust.
If anybody's talking about him. I mean, probably not. G Raver got a real nasty cut. He was out for a while, like really sliced himself up bad. On a light tube.
Yeah.
Fucking Hayabusa broke his neck on a moonsault. Wasn't really injured drastically from anything hardcore that he was doing. It was a moonsault.
I mean, the light tube was what put Arquette in the hospital that night as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's glass.
Yeah.
You break a fucking light bulb and you cut your finger. I'm pissed for days.
Right.
These guys are wrestling it. It's crazy. I would never do it. But there's a market for it. People are going to keep doing it. And I think they're going to keep trying to find ways to push the envelope.
And that's what it is. I don't want to use the phrase incorrectly, but it's attention seeking. Oh my God, did you see the dude almost kill the other dude with the easy bake oven?
Right. I mean, yeah, people aren't going to deathmatch wrestling shows for the art form of wrestling.
Side headlock takeovers.
Right. They're going for the shock value, and the wrestlers in those shows know that, so that's why they are constantly.
I mean, here's the deal. I didn't know what ECW was, but back in the day, but I knew the clip of the chairs being thrown in the ring. Because I had seen that clip, but I didn't know what it was from, but I had seen the clip. So it's kind of the same.
Wrong or indifferent, Joey Janela got an AEW contract from jumping off the roof at Game Changer Wrestling.
Yeah,
through a truck that was on fire with like tubes in it. I mean,
look at the career of John Moxley. I mean, he started in CZW doing that type of stuff, and that's probably what got him the notoriety that led to future contracts with major companies as well. I mean, CZW itself was one of the biggest companies on the East Coast for the longest time.
Yeah, I mean, look at the guys that have come through that company back in the day.
Those 3 letters, really.
Like there's major players in the business to this day that they came through that company.
I collect a few DVDs of wrestling. They're over here still. You can see them. I have a CZW DVD. He's wrestling this Sunday night, where Shane Strickland wrestles in a panes of glass match.
Oh, that just sounds awful.
I mean, it does sound awful. It sounds absolutely awful. I get pissed when I have a hangnail.
Yeah.
I'm a total pussy. I'm not saying I'm not.
Yeah.
Compared to what these guys and gals do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not just the guys, that's for sure. I
don't like to weed whack my yard.
No.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Weed whack another human being.
Yeah. Oof.
Kudos to them. It's an art form.
It is, yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to going to like a deathmatch show. If a deathmatch is on a card, it absolutely does not sway me to not go to a show. That's for sure. They are a sight to be seen. I think everybody should take in one live. There,
100%. Yeah, I've been to a few that are fully just deathmatch wrestling. I've been to some that just have a deathmatch or two on the card, and it is something that, I mean, it's fun. You get caught up in that crowd. The crowd goes nuts when these spots happen, for sure, live. Obviously, don't sit too close, but it's a time to go. And I think if, as a wrestling fan, I think at least going once is something that just so you can see if it's for you or if it's not. I mean, I've been a big proponent of deathmatch wrestling for a while, and I don't watch it as much now as I once did, but I think it's something that will still always catch my attention.
You know what? I lied. There was a deathmatch I caught where they took a styrofoam board.
You mean a styrofoam cup?
A styrofoam board, and they took scissors, opened into the board like this, and somebody got body slammed onto that.
Oh,
that's too much.
That right there, that was it.
Yeah,
that's probably the moment I was like, yeah, that's
I don't like that.
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
And the guy got up, and there were like obvious like cut marks here and here in his back. It was brutal. That one. Oh, not me.
That's not for Big Jim. It is not. It is not.
But I saw it. So really, Jim, is a flaming foot anything you even talk about?
I mean, it's
Booker T's talking about it,
and then it worked. I mean, if people are talking about, I mean, how many times have I said that about any company, any situation? If people are talking about it, then you've done something right, because it's out there, and there's going to be people that watch it to not like it. There's going to be people to watch it and tune in because they're curious. So it works. A discussion point on social media the other weekend that I saw. Unless Tim, did you have anything to add from the deathmatch stuff? Okay,
no, I'm good.
Was somebody, and I think they're a podcast host on the Fightful in the Fightful world, had brought up that looking at the matches that Cody Rhodes has had since returning to the WWE. He's wrestled Seth Rollins 20 plus times or something like that. Most of them being house shows, of course. So he's like, there's no way this is fun. Like basically trying to be like Cody made it. I guess trying to be like Cody made a mistake going back because now he's just wrestling Seth Rollins. And it sparked a discussion. I got involved. Friends of ours over at the Mindless Wrestling podcast got involved. Guys at the Take 3 Wrestling podcast got involved. And I mean, it's something that the WWE and other companies have done forever. You go and do different towns. Theoretically speaking, the people at the show Friday are not the people that are going to be at the show on Saturday, not going to be the people at the show on Sunday, and so on. So it really doesn't matter if you have the quote unquote same match or the same opponent time after time after time. But do you guys think that the, and I'll call them house show feuds, should be a thing of the past? Like, do you think that, and WWE really, you see them doing this, even to this day as a way to quote unquote rehearse matches before they hit TV or the premium live events. But do you think this should be a thing of the past and they should be doing those rehearsals, as we'll call them, because WWE has clearly shown no signs of trying to pretend that we're not a scripted and rehearsed television show with statements they've made over the last few weeks. But do you think that those sort of rehearsals, we'll call them, should be done behind closed doors?
No. People are buying tickets to house shows because of what they saw on TV. They are seeing Cody and Seth face each other or talk about fighting. It's like getting the pay-per-view without having to get the pay-per-view. I'm absolutely fine with house show matches. or house show feuds. My problem is like this isn't a house show feud. This is a TV feud that you're giving on a house show.
Sure.
Like whoever is on the side of don't do this, short-sighted. Like, is it they're not having fun? This can't be fun. For who? Cody?
I mean, where
does it matter who Cody's wrestling? Cody's wrestling. Cody's not wrestling for himself. He's wrestling for the people. The people want to see him fight Seth, so they fight Seth. Come on, man.
Where do they think these wrestlers kind of rehearsed their matches? Like, not on house shows. When else are they supposed to do it? On their free time?
Right. Are they?
Like,
they're taking time away from their kids,
and it's like, hey, you can't go home yet. You gotta hit the mats with Cody because you got a match on Monday.
Oh, you have kids? Who cares? You gotta
set up.
The WWE says Naomi and Sasha has 8 hours to rehearse a match. That's when they rehearse.
Well, that's true. They do on Mondays. They have
8 hours on Monday to rehearse.
I mean, you're not wrong. The WWE did tell us that.
So why do you have to do the house show matches?
I guess you're right. Fuck it. Get rid of the house show.
Get rid of. No, I mean, just do different opponents, though. I mean. We want to have different opponents every night, and
everybody's got a camera and can upload a video, and that's fucking ruined it.
Yeah, right. That was a point I saw somebody.
More so the internet tracking every single match, too.
Right.
Like,
that's what's ruined it
to the house show level. I mean, back in the day, we got the cards at the house shows. They were inserted into your program if you had the $10 to buy a WWE program. And that was kind of all we had to go off of now. So it's a lot easier to chicken check.
Yeah, I mean, I remember and I even said I remember going to a show at Hershey where they filmed like All-Star Wrestling and Superstars and
they changed the banner up top.
They changed the banner up top, and I saw Big Boss Man wrestle Nails 4 times in a night.
I feel like you work that into every fucking podcast we talk about.
I don't think it's everyone, but really, I mean, like it's first off, it's nothing new. It's not just a WWE thing either.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
who else is doing house shows?
Well, okay, now it's just a WWE thing because nobody else is doing house shows. But over the course of wrestling history, like. I would assume WCW and the AWA and NWA have done this. I think Danny Cage said, like, how many times I forget who it was, somebody wrestled Bockwinkel 5,000 times in a year. Like it's nothing new. And again, like the internet. I mean, if you didn't have cagematch.net, how would you even know? Like, you're not going to multiple. I don't think I know anybody who like goes to a house show at Hershey and then Philly and then not Philly, Allentown and then Reading on 3 nights in a row. Like I don't know anybody that does that. If you go to the Hershey show, you don't need to go to the Reading show. You don't need to go to the Allentown show. So what is it? You go and you see the match and you see and then it's over. Until you see it on a premium live event. Like I don't.
I still hate that they're called that. By the way,
I know. That's why I make sure.
Me off so much.
That's why I make sure that I. So, I mean, technically, they're still on pay-per-views, but
let's talk about this. So the WWE is marketed to who? What is the core age demographic that WWE is looking to market to?
Children,
kids.
The person that's not going to go onto Cage Match and see how many matches. Not being televised, but counting them in some imaginary counter to fucking stretch that Cody Rhodes made a bad decision and is unhappy currently in the WWE. Shut the fuck up.
It's just fucking it's crazy. Like
how is he unhappy? He's winning all the time. He's a featured act. He's on the poster of Money in the Bank, live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
Oop.
Not Allegiant.
Oops. About that.
But either way, like...
Yeah.
But then can't you say that about Sasha and Naomi? Because we were all pretty on the side of Sasha and Naomi was doing what's right for them.
Right.
So how can they be upset? How can they be? They're tag team champions.
Well,
They were
maybe they
featured in
want
the main event on Monday Night Raw. How can they be upset?
maybe they.
And I know I feel it's like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here.
I mean, maybe
But-
they want
Right.
something different though. Like, I mean, if Cody, I don't know what the negotiations look like, and I don't know if he knew, within the negotiations some of the things that he was going to be doing when he first came in. I'm sure that was part of the pitch though. If you want to believe that, fucking sounded like Vince McMahon and Nick Khan went to Atlanta and rolled out the red carpet and all of that for Cody. I mean, this was like a big time pitch. You would think that they would at least have presented the first few months maybe of what the guy's going to be doing when he comes back. So like I'm fairly certain if he wouldn't have liked the idea of doing the house show loop with Seth Rollins, he probably wouldn't have went back there. And you're also not talking about a guy that doesn't understand what the WWE does with house shows and house show matches. So I think he knew what he was getting into in terms of the Sasha and Naomi thing. I mean, maybe they want something different. I don't know. I'm not speaking for any of them really.
Yeah. Like if you look at the history of the Sasha stuff, like more and more keeps coming out all the time about that Sasha thing, and like Sasha's mad about stuff that happened at the Royal Rumble
with Ronda coming back and all that.
So apparently, WrestleMania's main event was supposed to be Sasha Charlotte for the title, and then they forced Ronda back, which then Sasha's then put in a mashup tag team with Naomi. So then she makes that work. And now the team has to pin each other on Raw and then split off and go against either champion and then lose. Like, why did you make us tag team champions? Like,
because they don't have tag teams. Like, that's the answer. They don't have women's tag teams. Don't exist.
Right, but the
Iconics were it.
But if there's going to be titles, they should have contenders, right?
There's no contenders.
Right. So they're quitting.
Two single people thrown together.
So they're quitting to prove a point.
Okay.
Or walking away.
What
point are they trying to prove now, though? That women's tag team wrestling matters? Because it doesn't. Sorry.
The booking is shit, probably.
We know that. We've known that. That's not going to change either.
Well, but
it's not.
We know that. They're trying to make
the. Care. They don't
well, right.
They're rolling in the money. They don't care that the booking is shit.
The WWE. I mean,
You're
clearly, the WWE does not give a fuck. The statement released 10 minutes after they walked out proves that. Like, the WWE does not care.
I appreciate them trying. They're just dying on a hill, though.
Yeah, and to sidebar,
you've got to start somewhere, though, Ryan. I mean, we've talked about this with other issues. Like, if the alternative is just to accept status quo or do something about it, then I guess they're at the point now where they're like, we just need to do something about it.
And that's fine. I just think they're going to die on a hill. They're not going to martyr themselves. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I feel bad. Like, I feel bad for Naomi in this because I feel like Naomi got caught in a situation where she doesn't want to be disloyal to her tag team partner on the show if cooler heads prevails, to coin a phrase, and they come back and start defending the titles again. You don't want to create a weird situation there, but like, and again, I don't know Naomi. I'm not speaking for her, but I'm like, to me, I feel like this was Sasha Banks' fight, and Naomi walked out to support her partner, and like Sasha, like, not that Naomi wouldn't be fine. I think there's places in the wrestling industry she could work if she wanted to. I think she can be.
I think she's connected enough to an important enough family that she could probably make things work.
I feel like Naomi's been done dirtier than Sasha's ever been done dirty.
I would probably agree with that, Ryan.
Really?
And that's why she has just as much. The focus
really does.
The focus is on Sasha because she's been vocal before. The true story is, why did Naomi do it? I don't think she did it because of Sasha. I think she's finally with somebody who's going to empower Naomi to stand up for herself.
That's fair.
And not roll over and be like,
You mean
it's
Cameron
okay.
didn't give her that?
Mrs. One half of the Funkadactyls. Miss, I'm gonna pin somebody on their belly.
Look, she was training with Spanky.
That's true.
I think this goes to the topic that we didn't get to cover last Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I was going to wedge that in here.
You might as well.
So I've also seen a lot of people in relation to that beginning this discussion of whether or not, like, Sasha doesn't need the WWE needs Sasha, or Naomi doesn't need the WWE needs Naomi and Sasha, and vice versa. To my question is do they need each other? Does neither need? And right, when I keep looking at it, and I may have even like tweeted it out, I'm like, neither needs none of them need each other. Like, I feel like Sasha was already working her way out of the WWE, whether it's completely or at least as a full-time wrestler, working in the towards the entertainment world, a la The Rock, John Cena. She's already working her way out. She's already, quote unquote, not bigger than the WWE, but you know what I mean. And Naomi, again, if she wants to go to Impact, she wants to go to AEW, there's a world out there. She's connected to the bloodline through marriage. If she wants to come back, she's going to be fine there. But I don't think she needs the WWE. And to me, the WWE is printing billions of dollars. Like, the WWE machine is not going to slow down because Sasha and Naomi, if the end result is they end up getting released, the WWE is not going to be impacted. Now, will people be mad about it? Sure. Will people stop watching for a little bit in the short term? Maybe, possibly. Some people will. The WWE is still printing money. The WWE doesn't need Sasha and Naomi. Do they want them to come back? Probably, absolutely, from a business standpoint. But I don't think
they do.
Why not?
If they wanted them back, they wouldn't be burying them actively on television saying how bad they disappointed the WWE universe and let everyone down.
Doesn't matter.
Like, it does.
It don't matter, man.
So they come back, then what? What value are they? They've literally just chat talked them into nothingness.
I think this is what we talk about with
redemption stories.
You don't say that my opponent's a piece of shit and he's awful, because when you beat him, you just beat a piece of shit. So you don't run them down and then bring them back. I happen to agree with that. Here's the deal.
By saying everything they're saying, it's basically saying, hey, this isn't over in 2 weeks. If it was something that could be resolved in 2 weeks, they could have ran an angle where there's a door and it says Sasha and Naomi. It's like, oh, there's commotion backstage. We don't know exactly what's going on, but we're going to monitor this. And then, like, you play to the illusion of them actually fighting or beefing or whatever. Or you say, oh, we found them attacked backstage. And, like, if there's a possibility of them coming back, the thing is, their contract's up in a couple of months.
Oh, is it? I thought Sasha's was longer.
No.
Okay.
I actually didn't know that either. Here's the deal. I think Sasha Banks has things going for her. You know, she has name recognition in Hollywood. She appeared in 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. She's like cousins to Snoop Dogg or something. I don't know. In The Mandalorian, was she credited as? She wasn't credited as Sasha Banks, correct? It was Mercedes.
Mercedes
as her. Okay, so like she's a bit away from the Sasha Banks. There's some name recognition there. Trinity Fatu doesn't have a ton of name recognition, outside of Naomi.
She was in the Marine 6.
I apologize. The direct to DVD hit Marine 6. I don't know what she has going outside of professional wrestling. I think Sasha's trajectory was always bigger than pro wrestling, whereas Naomi, I thought, was a great professional wrestler that was never used to her fullest potential.
But you mean to tell me that Naomi couldn't immediately go to AEW and give them a shot of female star power that is actually like meaningful as a person of color in the women's division?
That's more
That's
so
a
the
great
issue.
point.
Can you name me any other African American female wrestlers besides Bianca at this point?
In WWE?
Or NXT?
Lash Legend.
I was gonna say, can you name a female wrestler in NXT that isn't Nikita Lyons?
Yeah, the person she's programmed against. Lash Legend. I mean,
Peru. Oh man,
I think there's only one. I only think there's
Nyla
only
Rose.
one black girl.
I just looked it up. That's it.
Yeah, not in
We've got
WWE.
what?
Nyla Rose, but
There's-
is Nyla Rose black?
So she's Native American, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Is she mixed race? Like I don't know. Like, but in AEW, like AEW's got what? They've got Jade, they've got Red Velvet, they've got Kira Hogan. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that list reads pretty quick.
Not
And
as
like-
not as quick as WWE's.
has one brand. WWE has three that
Right,
they
one
multiple
brand.
brands,
It's the WWE brand.
Wow.
and it's just Bianca Belair, huh?
And
Right
Lash
now,
Legend.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
That's probably should be talked about.
I mean,
got
when you
two
only,
Scottish
when you
girls.
only have 7 women on the main roster,
That's fair. That's fair.
between Raw and SmackDown, you know, it's the percentages is up there.
I mean, I guess Lacey Lane could be.
Oh, Caden Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, yeah.
Shoot, I forgot about.
I mean,
Caden
we're in
Carter.
NXT though still. On the
Yeah.
main
Yeah.
roster.
But Caden Carter and and her tag team partner Katana Chance.
God, I don't know any of these names.
You know who
Yeah.
Katana Chance is?
I do.
You sure do.
Is that Karen Q?
That's
No,
Casey.
that's Wendy Chu.
It's Mighty
Oh.
Casey.
It's Mighty Casey. Casey Canizaro's new WWE name is Katana Chance.
Man,
I see they changed
Katana Chance. I got COVID. Is that her full
Ludwig
name?
Kaiser's name as well over there on SmackDown. They took out the U and put a V in.
It's Ludwig Kaiser.
It's Ludwig Kaiser.
Shut
Yeah.
up. Really? I gotta look that one up.
Took out, yeah.
German McGerman. This just keeps going.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think that was kind of the point that people were making in terms of WWE needs Sasha and Naomi.
Okay, I didn't.
This,
I don't think they do though.
I
Like,
still don't think.
Yeah,
they
I don't-
do.
I-
That's
I don't think
probably
they need
what
those two.
That's probably what they were trying to hammer home. And I mean,
because they have Bailey.
if she comes back healthy,
Oh, she's due to come back soon.
she's been due.
Well, I mean, 'cause
Wait,
what,
I mean, Matt, you're saying that people are saying that they need Trinity and Mercedes as persons of color on their roster, or
That was how I took it.
okay,
oh, see,
Or
I,
not from a
representation.
name recognition top of the card that they are now
No.
lacking diversity in the women's.
oh yeah, I just interpreted it as they
That
were
I
just
can
saying they need them because they're
I mean,
big names.
I don't think WWE needs anyone really. Like
Yeah.
they would bounce back from losing anyone, even if Roman was just like, "Nah, I'm done." They would bounce back from that. So they don't necessarily need people because it's the name brand. It's recognizable.
Yeah, it's the machine.
I
But
don't
they
know. It's been-
need people that their fans can relate to. And right now, that they're lacking in that beyond Bianca. Like if they want to continue attracting, any type of minority into the company, they need minorities to be in the company.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
yeah. No, that's definitely a point I didn't think about because I took it more as just people saying they need them because they're big name stars who it's at the forefront of people's minds because of the situation that's taken place over the last couple weeks.
I mean, women's
And Matt, that's it. Good, Brian.
Women's professional wrestling, it does exist outside of the WWE and AEW.
Mm-hmm.
There are independents, Shine, Shimmer, things of that nature, where great independent wrestling happens that happen to be females. But if you look at the trajectories of like Sasha Banks and Naomi, I feel like the brass at WWE said we existed before them just fine, and we can exist post them just fine. I don't think they're going to kiss their ass to bring them back. And I think they put mud on their face by doing it after, like Tim said, putting out the shit that they put out about those two. And it's business to them. We were here before them.
Well,
we made them. We can make another Sasha Banks. We can make another Naomi. We'll move on.
And that's also been their mindset.
That's
always has been.
That's also what I meant when I said, and I'm not even necessarily saying they come back in the next few months. Like, if there's a business opportunity to be made,
sure,
Sasha Banks and Naomi would be back in the WWE. Like
Ultimate Warrior held up Vince McMahon for money and came back years later.
Right. There's
probably will happen.
Like if CM Punk wanted to come back to WWE, he would have come back to, like, Vince would have welcomed him back with open arms.
He was in talks to come back before he went to AEW.
Right. Like,
I don't get
Ambrose would
vibes from either of those two here either.
No.
They don't carry like the clout that CM Punk carried when he walked away. Unfortunately, they don't.
I mean, few people would. CM Punk was the top wrestler in the company.
Well, yeah, and he like his persona was this, I speak for those who can't speak up sort of a thing. Like Sasha and Naomi aren't those characters.
That's fair.
But yeah, that was my point when I said that, like, WWE like would absolutely bring them back without question. Like, if there's money to be made, they're going to make the money. Like, that's just what they do.
But going back to like a point with Matt, like for WWE to keep Sasha and Naomi just to have representation is a dangerous line to tread.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Because then you're counting heads. And it's kind of like, how you can tell if a white person's racist? You ask them how many black friends they have and they give you a number.
Right.
If they can tell you how many they have. Ooh.
Or I'm not racist, I voted for Obama. Like, you know what I mean? Like that phrase. Like, I can't be racist.
WWE has representation. We have Sasha Banks.
Right.
But then, like, if you say that, then it's like, well, representation is bigger than just black. Like, they have Asuka, who is the only Asian American, or she's not even Asian American, but she's the only Asian female star the WWE has on the main roster. Wendy Chu aside. And then I think, isn't Roxana Perez, isn't Roxy like Filipino?
I thought she was from Texas.
I don't know.
I don't know that. I really don't know. I mean,
and so like
Io Shirai is still in NXT.
Sarai? Io Shirai, yeah.
Sarai
is.
NXT does a much better job of diversity and representation than the main roster.
They do.
For
they
sure.
Absolutely do.
And I think the WWE men's division, and maybe that's where that line, but again, dangerous line to tread if you're gonna start counting heads is like, I think that the men's side, I think we've seen a lot more representation over the last few years. But and I mean, but again, the women's roster in general, it has gotten very small in the WWE. And then that's the number of superstars on the roster itself. And then you want to talk about the superstars that actually get put on TV. like that number is even smaller. Like which is wild. Like you would think if you have a roster of 8, you could get them all on TV, but here we are. So here's let's play it out a little bit. Like if let's say Sasha Banks and Naomi do not return to WWE, whether they get their formal release or contracts expire and they move on. Let's start with Naomi. Do you think Naomi like ends up wrestling for another company, whether it's AEW, whether it's Impact, whether it's I don't know, name a company? Do you think that Naomi ends up in the business somewhere else, or does she eventually return to WWE by herself, not with Sasha?
I think that all depends on her. I think there is opportunity for her to be a major player in any wrestling company. Just with the experience she has, her look, like not even talking about the ethnicity part, but just her charisma is off the page. She's a talent. She's a draw. She can be a big contributor for any women's division on television.
Yeah.
She's married to an Uso. I think she controls her own narrative. Not here. No, not here. I don't like that at all. No, I make bad tasting jokes. That was a really bad one. She gets to call her own shot.
There you go.
I think she can come back if she wants to, and she'd be fine by herself.
Yeah, I think either way she can find a landing spot. I think any company, whether it's Impact, whether it's AEW, anyone would likely snatch her up quickly if she was on the market.
Let me clarify. That wasn't to say that there's not an opportunity outside of the WWE, because there absolutely would be.
It
would be a fool.
I think it's probably most likely that she would return to WWE in some capacity. I mean, we make a joke about being that part of the table. She at least has a seat there, but I mean that she's probably would prefer that over anything else.
Yeah, like here's the thing: if she, again, contract expires, whatever the circumstance, if she decides to not come back to WWE right now, I absolutely do see, Naomi. I almost combined their names together. Naomi continuing her wrestling career somewhere else. Like to me, she feels like a female wrestler who just WWE has mishandled time and time again, and there's so much potential there that I think she wants to continue her career. So let's go to Sasha now.
WWE's being very petty too. Like I can see Vince being like, "We'll bring you back, but we're bringing back Brodus Clay," and putting them back together.
Yeah. I mean, they're being petty enough now. What would stop them from being petty if they return? If she returns,
Tyrus looks great on Fox News.
Oh, God. Jesus.
I mean, also too, WWE has done this quite a few times. Right? WWE's done this quite a few times where they let's use the Usos for example. They get tag team title wins weeks after an Uso gets a DUI.
Oh yeah, days. I believe
multiple people,
not weeks, days,
multiple people have had wellness violation suspensions, only to come back to get pushed.
Hey, Randy. Randy.
Hey, Randy. Who is to say that they bury Sasha and Naomi, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what?
Call my mama.
Nope. Naomi comes back, instantly wins the SmackDown Women's title.
It's the same reason Cody Rhodes is on his way to be a champion. If either or both of them come back, they are at their absolute hottest because everybody everybody is looking at it. Everybody is talking about it. Sidebar. Let's play the age game with old Brodus Clay. How old do you think Brodus Clay is? I looked it up.
47.
45.
42.
49.
God, that's an old bitch.
He is old. He is definitely
old.
on the
God,
wrong side of
old
30.
bitch.
Sasha
Played an
Banks.
age game with intern Mark.
With Mark? Isn't he like 44?
I don't have a damn clue how old he is.
Does he have it
No clue.
listed on his social media?
I'm
I'm gonna look. You keep going.
All right.
Not on the intern Twitter. I know that.
Sasha Banks. Let's say Sasha Banks does not return to WWE. Do you see Sasha
she's
Banks?
27.
Who?
Thought we were still playing the age game.
Oh, I thought you were looking up intern Mark's age
No.
on Facebook, because that's what I was gonna do.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. But Sasha Banks, do you think that she wrestles anywhere else?
No. I think if she doesn't return to WWE, she just focuses on acting for now.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think, and similar, because I know there was like talks before Alexa Bliss came back that like she was unhappy, and people were saying, well, she could just go to AEW. I'm like, I don't think Alexa Bliss is. I don't think Lexi Kaufman is going to wrestle in AEW or anywhere else. I think she's a WWE superstar, and then if she's not, she's just that Cabrera dude's wife. Good on him for that, by the way. But like, I'm with you, man. I don't think Sasha Banks or Mercedes wrestles outside of the WWE if she doesn't.
Maybe that's a
return.
one-off, but nothing.
Maybe.
consistent, no contract.
But like, is she really coming to all now? Is All Out this year? Is that at United Center? Is that at the big joint?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Or is it somewhere else?
Forbidden Doors at the United Center.
Okay. Is All Out still in Chicago?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they've announced where All Out is.
Oh yeah, I guess they haven't. There's no way they go right back to Chicago after doing it.
I bet you they go to New York.
Okay. Okay, I could see them doing that. But like, unless they're doing MSG, like, I don't see Sasha showing up even for a one-off in AEW. Like, I think she's focused on her acting career.
If she did anything, I think it would just be a one-off. I don't think it would be a solid return.
Yeah, I don't think she's signing anywhere.
I got nothing on Mark's birthday.
Man,
his year is not on there. Just his birthday.
Veiled in secrecy.
Yeah.
Unreal. So Ryan, do you think Sasha Mercedes? Do you think she wrestles elsewhere?
I don't. I really don't. I think she has established herself enough in her career where if she wants to pivot to Hollywood and a Hollywood lifestyle, she can do that. And if the time and money is right, and it's McMahon or Nick Khan or The Rock, whoever owns the WWE at the time, wants to bring back Sasha Banks in the future, the door will be open. But I don't see it now.
Yeah, because you said she was how old, Tim?
I think she's 27.
Yeah, she's still young.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to do a Hollywood Sasha return, a la Hollywood Rock. I mean,
oh my gosh,
you know what I mean? Like,
she's 30.
Okay, that's still on the right side of 30.
On the right side of 30.
Yeah, it's the right side of 30.
That's old for a woman in the WWE.
Tim said it.
That's old for a woman.
Not the tool man. Not the tool.
I'm like, if you see my face.
No, I know.
I mean, this is the podcast. Nobody sees your face unless you're listening.
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com/Freak Thursday. You $2 a month forever.
No, I know what you're saying though.
Okay, we're gonna play the intern Mark game really quick.
All right.
So the best. How old do you think Mark was when Lauren was born?
26.
20.
So that puts him
24.
I'd say 22, 24.
Okay. Then that puts him at like 45. 45-46.
Feels about right.
Yeah, seems right.
Because she'll be 21 this year.
Okay. But like, do you think because Ryan, you're Ryan and Matt, you guys will be 39 this year?
Old as shit, yeah.
So
I will be 38 this year.
38.
I'm younger than everyone in my group.
Okay, so Ryan's the old fuck of this foursome. Like, does Mark feel only 6 years older than you, or do you think he's older than you?
I don't know, man. I look at him sometimes and I'm like, God, I fucking hate you. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, you're kind of like that older brother.
I
and
get
then I'm like, how old am I? And then I like see all this white happening in my goatee, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality, Ryan.
Yeah, 6 is probably right.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd
I don't
say
think of him much like an
mid-40s.
elder. Yeah.
I'd say mid-40s. I'm just gonna text him in our group and ask him.
Actually, that would be a fine thing to have done.
No,
Like,
we gotta be a sleuth.
No,
I wonder if it's on his Twitter.
I don't think he knows how to put it on his Twitter.
No, he
It's
certainly
not.
does
It's not on the 3C.
I just
intern
asked
one.
him. I'm too old to be an investigator. I just
I'm
ask
not.
questions. That's because you're still young and spry, Tim.
Young Spry, 35.
But I'm gonna say Mark's 46.
I'm gonna say young
before
Sprite
he
chicken
answers the question.
thigh, but
And I get
I'm
it.
gonna say 48.
Okay,
I'll split the difference and say 47.
okay, Matt.
I think that's where my guess initially would have landed with Lauren's age, but I'll just take.
Then I'll take 45.
I was gonna just take 45 to be fair, but
However you want. If you want your 47, I'll take 45.
I'll go 45.
So we're saying
All right,
between
I'll say
40,
47.
45 and 48. But I get a
It's
text.
like, oh, I turned 38 this year. Thanks for asking.
It's like, oh fuck. I get a text from EJ from Ernest, almost weekly, commenting about intern Mark on the podcast and how he's just
those
he's a menace.
47-year-olds like to stick
It's
together.
true. It is true. He hasn't responded yet, but we'll get the answer and we'll report back. So I'm not gonna hit the last topic. I think we can save that one for another week. I like the discussion tonight. Is there anything any of you guys want to add to anything before we close up?
No.
You know what? I'm gonna double down on the conversation we had on Thursday.
Okay.
From me, it's just a 32-second clip. I'm not even leading it in, but here you go.
To talk about how we could have prevented the horror that played out across the street. Look, the killer entered here the same way the killer entered in Santa Fe, through a back door, an unlocked back door. I sat down at round tables with the families from Santa Fe. We talked about what we need to do to harden schools, including not having unlocked back doors, including not having unlocked doors to classroom, having one door that goes in and out of the school, having armed police officers at that one door. You want to talk about how we could have prevented?
Yep. So, guns don't kill people. Unlocked doors do.
We got our
Really-
answer.
Really tackle the issues that matter there.
Man, you
Yeah.
should have switched with me.
I should have.
47. Intern Mark is 47. Here's what I mean to the one entry door. Like, how many kids are in a school? Have you ever gone to an event at the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania, when doors open, and how much of a clusterfuck that process is? Because that's what you're going to be asking a school to do every day. Why?
Here you go. Just a random high school in a city we know. Around 1,400 kids.
Yeah. So you're gonna ask them to do a single entry, single door. I mean, I'm assuming at that point, if you're doing armed guards and all that stuff. You're probably going to be doing metal detectors. Fuck. Why the fuck are we treating a school like a courthouse?
Because we don't want to get rid of our guns.
Because we have a
The
fucking
only
hard
reason-
on
I didn't know more of his words.
for guns. Jesus. Matt, do you have anything else to add?
No, not really. I will just say, as a former teacher, as the husband of a teacher, the answer cannot, will not, and should not be to put guns in the hands of teachers. They are paid too little to do too much, and asking them to take on additional responsibilities such as firearms training is not what any educator signed up for. Let them teach, and let's just look into gun reform. I think more guns is the wrong direction.
I mean, it hasn't worked so far. More guns has not worked so far. Ryan.
When is that the solution to anything? Hey, I have a drinking problem. You should drink more beer. There should be more beer around you.
Right.
Hey, I'm addicted to pornography. Well, maybe you should jerk off more.
Right.
That's not the solution.
I'm overweight. Keep
Let's
eating.
see.
And
Here, go to
increase
McDonald's.
that intake.
Right. Here, fatty, have a burger. That's not the answer.
Especially late at night. You should eat more at night.
You need to reform what you drink. You need to reform what you eat. Let's reform what's, I don't know, killing these fucking kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't
And I'll
stop.
say, I'm sorry, real quick. Fuck you. If you disagree, stop fucking listening. Don't care. Don't need you following us. Unfollow us from social media. Don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't
Fuck
care.
you. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I
really
don't.
When the kids stop dying, then I'll care that I lost a fucking listener.
I would rather have 10 people that listen to this show that of like mind and enjoy the show than to have.
Yeah, call it an echo chamber all you want. I'm fine.
I'm
in my
fucking fine
echo
with
I
it.
don't
chamber.
care.
You
Yeah.
can fuck right off into your own.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's not to say we're not open to debates. I know all of us. Bring facts.
Right. If you can prove to me that more guns equals less kids dying, then I'm here to listen. And that's
I would love to see that.
I would love to see those facts, because the actual facts over the last, because when was Columbine, like 25 years? Over the last 25 years, your facts are going against you, my guy. But
And to be clear, we're specifically talking more guns in that situation.
correct.
This is not a grab for your guns.
Nope, I don't care.
I am not.
We are
I am not
very clear about that.
anti-gun. I'm
you
not
want a
anti.
hunting rifle? You want a handgun to keep at your
Sure.
bedside table to protect yourself? By all means. The
Do it.
boogeyman will be terrified of your 9mm and he'll run the other way.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Maybe
Whatever
he
you
even
need to feel
drops the worms
safe.
out of his mouth.
Do you want a military rifle? Join the military.
Yep.
It's that simple. That fucking simple. I can't. A friend of mine, and Ryan, it's a friend of ours that we went to college with. He and I message on like Instagram a lot. And the night of the shooting, we were talking, and he said, and it's something that I have not been able to get out of my head. He goes, if that happens at my school, I'm doing everything I can to protect my students. And then my son grows up without a dad. That's not a fucking thing anybody should say. It's not. And I have countless friends who are teachers, countless friends who are parents, and plenty of friends that are teachers and parents. None of them should have to worry about going to or sending their kids to school. You know what you should worry about when you send your kids to school? That they like go down the slide too fast and they cut their leg. Like those sort of things. Or like they get sick from the cafeteria food and you have to go pick them up. Those are the things. that you should be worried about with your kids going to school. Not that they're not going to come home. Like, it's just not fucking right. It just isn't. And just fucking stop. It just enough. I got nothing else wrestling wise. You know where to find us. If you're here, you know where to find us. If you enjoy us, tell somebody about us. But just be fucking better. I'm so done. I'm just so done with this shit. Just be better. Take care of each other. And we'll talk to you next week.